Welcome to night 3 of our We Love WCCS Week live interviews on Facebook. Thank y'all so much for joining us again tonight. If you are joining us on the live stream tonight, we'd love to know who you are. Share a comment in the comment section with your name, your relationship to the school. If you're a student, if you're an alumnus, if you're a faculty member, a parent, we would love to hear who you are and who's on board with us tonight so that we can engage with you and give you a shout out. Also, I am so honored to have with us tonight some of our fabulous faculty. These teachers, they are the heart and the soul of our school. And so I hope tonight as you welcome them and hear what they have to say, that you will continue to engage with us. Share a like with us, share a love with us to let our teachers know how much you love them. John Edward Kruger, hi, thanks for giving us a shout out. We are so excited that you are joining us tonight. And again, if you are joining us on the live stream, we'd love to know who's joining us and who's watching on so that we can engage with you guys and let you know how much we love and support y'all. So John Edward said he's from the class of 2015. That's awesome. Well, we are so excited to start tonight. Lisa Barlow says she loves WCCS teachers, and we love you, Lisa, our development director. Thank you for joining us live as well. It has been such a fun week. I hope y'all have been enjoying engaging on Facebook. Some of you might have seen some of the live testimonials that have been shared on Facebook that look like this. So maybe you've seen a couple of graphics. WCCS made a difference in my child's life. We're thankful for this place. And then personal testimonials. If you haven't done that yet, we would encourage you to think about posting your own story. The graphics are available on our Facebook page. And at the end, tag a couple of people that you know would love to share their stories with us. We think that's a great way to share the WCCS love. So without further ado, I want to welcome some special guests into the studio. Again, these are our wonderful teachers that we love so much. And I want to begin by welcoming one of our third grade teachers, Miss Susan Westbrook. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Hey, good evening.
We're so glad to have you, Susan. Susan, tell us a little bit about yourself, your family. Let us get to know you a little bit.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm a third grade teacher here at Westminster Catawba Christian School. I'm married to my husband, Charlie, 30 years now, and we're both Rock Hill natives, and we have 2 children. Charlie the third, he graduated from WCCS back in 2013, and then my daughter in 2016, Bailey. She just recently graduated from Anderson University back in the spring, and she's back home at our family farm, Cherry Place Farm, working from here. And my son is married to his wife, Nikki, and they live in the Greenville area. Nikki is a graduate of WCCS as well, and she is in med school over in Greenville area. So they live there. Charlie went off to Clemson after WCCS and graduated from there, and then Bailey from Anderson University. So we've been a part of WCCS for many years. The kids started there when they were 4 years old. So it's always been a part of our family. We call WCCS our family.
Well, we feel that way too, Susan. You're definitely a part of our family, and it's so neat to have alumni parents that are on our faculty as well. And we love Bailey and Charlie as well. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Our next special guest I'd love to welcome to the studio is Miss Olivia Edge. Hey, Olivia.
Hi.
Olivia teaches in our middle school, teaches middle school, 6th grade specifically, language arts and middle school theater. Olivia, tell us a little bit about yourself and welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me. I'm Olivia Edge. This is my 3rd year teaching at Westminster Catawba Christian School. I absolutely love my job, and I'm so grateful that I get to go to work every day. So let me just start with that. I've lived in Rock Hill for 12 years. I live with my 2 kids, Eli and Julia. And for the 20 plus years before I was a school teacher, I was a professional actress. So my experience was on the stage, musical theater primarily. I like to sing and dance and act. And I majored in theater and English at Vanderbilt. So my degrees were in both. And I absolutely love both fields. So I'm just thrilled that I get to teach both of those at Westminster right now.
And Olivia gets to teach my boy in 6th grade. And so that has been fun, getting to experience you as a teacher of one of my kids. So Olivia, thank you for all that you do.
He's awesome.
All right. And our next special guest to the studio is Mr. Bernie Cook. Bernie teaches in our high school, specifically high school science. Bernie, welcome to the studio. We'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself and your family.
Yeah, real quick, I just have to say hey to Sheila. I saw Sheila hopped on and left a comment. Miss you, Sheila. Love you. I just had to say something to her. So
Sheila, thank you.
I've been with WCCS for my 11th year now. I was actually kind of surprised that I ended up working at WCCS, because when I first started applying for teaching positions, I didn't necessarily have I have a strong background in science, but not necessarily teaching. So it's kind of, it was an avenue that I ended up taking kind of unexpectedly towards the end of my master's degree. I realized I really enjoyed teaching and I wanted to pursue it. But my wife graduated from WCCS, and my mother-in-law taught at WCCS, and so that's kind of what led me there. And so 11 years later, I'm still here, and I enjoy every bit of it. I have 3 children. My wife's Nicole. Like I said, she graduated from WCCS, and I have 3 children that are currently enrolled. One of them is only 5 months old, so she's in the infant daycare, and the other one's kindergarten and 1st grade. And the 1st grader is the kid in the classroom that can't stop dancing in his chair while he's supposed to be behaving. But he's always happy and full of love, so that's what's important.
Well, Bernie, we love having you at the school too. And I just love walking by your classes and the way that you engage with your students in the science room. So we appreciate you being on the stream with us tonight too. Well, we are so excited to get started tonight. I have a series of questions that we've been asking several of our guests each night. And we want to do that with y'all as well. And the first question, that I have for everybody is, what is your favorite thing, or what do you love most about WCCS? And Bernie, I'd love to start with you on this question tonight. What do you love most about the school?
Sure. I mean, there's honestly a lot of things, but I think one of the best things about WCCS is I actually get to, being a high school science teacher, I usually get to spend 2 to 3 years with the same students. Because depending on what I'm teaching, because I'm kind of while I do stick with certain courses, I'm a little bit of a floater science teacher. For example, when Mr. Faculty retired and we had a new science teacher come in, it's kind of like if there's certain classes that they may or may not be familiar teaching, usually I can fill it in because I've kind of got experience in all of the different classes. But I tend to have students from 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And so over the course of having the same students for 3 years, I feel like there are a ton of opportunities for sort of impromptu conversations, impromptu, just moments together where we really get to, speak a lot about life, the gospel, just all kinds of different things. And it's, a lot of very deep, meaningful conversations that I just don't feel like I would get anywhere else in moments that I have with students. Just great, God moments have happened many, many times on senior trips. When Holly and I go on the senior trips, I feel like we just have moments that were outstanding. And even like today I had 2 students after physics class that stayed in the 7th period in my physics class. And they just, we just got to talking. And before you know, we just kind of spoke about physics for a full class period because they were just asking all kinds of questions and, just kind of really see them light up and, be interested in it. And again, it's kind of stuff that I don't feel like I would get at other places, those types of moments.
And Bernie, I've heard so many stories. We ask students for their testimonials about, things that mattered to them or things that stand out to them. And they reference the relationships that they have with teachers quite a bit. And of course, your name comes up more than once. And just talking about, those God moments that you just discussed and how, it's not just about the subject that you're presenting to the students, but the relationship that you have with them and the encouragement that you're sharing with them for life. And so I've heard that from students and from graduates. So thank you for sharing that. Olivia, what do you love most about WCCS?
Well, this is a hard question because there are a lot of things I really love about WCCS, but if I had to choose just one, I would say it's the kids. I love the kids. I actually like middle school age children, which cannot be said of everybody. It's a hard age. I didn't like middle school when I was going through it at all. In fact, if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would ever want to teach middle school, I would have said, you're crazy. That's too hard a period. But the Lord has his plan for us. He opens up certain doors and leads you, down a path maybe you wouldn't think was right for you. And luckily for me, as I've gone down this path, I've realized, wow, I actually love doing that. These kids are transitioning from childhood to adulthood, and it's tricky. It's hard. You want to be treated like an adult, yet your brain's not fully developed, and you still have, impulse control issues and just the emotions that come with hormone changes and social issues that we have at this age. I feel passionate about helping kids transition in that period. So I feel really lucky that I get to speak into them truth, and I get to share wisdom with them about how to navigate this time period in a God-honoring way and in a way that shows dignity to everyone. Our theme this year, love God and love others. And we're just focusing so much on how, as we are dealing with difficult social situations, how we can continue to be kind and loving to people all the time, whether we deserve it or not. And honestly, I wish some adults would learn that lesson now too. But these kids, they are amazing, and they make my job a pleasure every single day.
Well, Olivia, we feel the same way about you. And it's so remarkable on the tours that I get to take in a non-COVID year where we get to go into the classrooms and see what's going on in the interaction with the teachers and the students. Time and time again, the prospective families that are with me are just so blown away by the love that they can sense, in the relationship, in the classroom, in the way that you interact with the students. And so that is truly evident, I think, in what you're doing in and through every day. So thank you very much. Yeah. Susan, I'd love to hear from you what your favorite thing about WCCS is.
Yeah, so I'm with Olivia on this. It is very hard to come up with just one thing. For me, some of the things that came to my mind was just the close-knit community that I feel like we have at our school. And then, of course, the education being centered around Christ, and the fact that I can just, build all my lessons around God and integrate him into my lessons. And I can stop and, our class can stop and pray over something, pray with the students and the parents. That is huge. I feel like we have that partnership with the families and the support from them. I think third grade, I mentioned I teach third grade. I've been teaching in third grade for 3 years now. And before I taught 5 years in public school. So for me, it's just so special and such a privilege to be able to, share God in my lessons and to be able to pray and to guide the students, to Christ each day. For us, third grade is a transition year as well. And, for my third graders, they're just learning to become, problem solvers and become more independent, which is very hard for the kids and the parents, because they've, it's the year where they have to learn to let go a little bit. And let the children learn on their own. And so I feel like, it's an important year. I know the partnership is important in every grade, but for me, it's really neat to partner with those parents and kind of help them walk through this year of transition for their child. And I had a parent-teacher conference recently, and it just really was so special how I can start my conference with a prayer and turning to God and just laying everything down at God's feet, as to what, we're discussing about their child. And, at the end of my conference, these parents just stopped, and before they left said, could they pray for me and with me? And I just, thought how special that was. It just meant so much to me to feel that support, from them coming in and their prayers being lifted up for me as I'm, teaching their child and seeking God's will each day in the classroom. So again, it just goes back to that close-knit community and family that we are.
Absolutely, Susan. I agree. There's just something unique about a Christian school. And, I get questions from families about that integration of faith and learning. What does that look like? What does that mean? Do you lose one for another? And from, just personal experience and seeing what's happening in the classroom, it really increases the level of depth that we're able to go with students, because we're getting them to ask those hard questions. We're getting them to look at things from that biblical perspective and ask the why and the how and the why not, even in third grade. So thank you for sharing that, Susan. Yeah. All right. So our next question tonight, you have all shared a little bit about your families, but I'd love to hear why you chose to teach at WCCS. Olivia, I'm going to start with you on this one. Why did you choose to teach at WCCS?
Well, I think I alluded earlier to the fact that God opened doors and closed others that really, I'll be honest, forced me down a certain way. And the cards just fell into place. Everything, it was providence that the job opened up, and it was the perfect fit for me. And the reason I choose to stay here, beyond the fact that it became evident to me that was God's plan for me, is because we really do teach the whole child. And you were getting at this before. A lot, you hear that said at a lot of schools, but we really do try and to take care of the physical, the spiritual, the mental, and the emotional. And in middle school, sometimes that emotional and the spiritual and mental are more important even than the academic needs. And I love that our middle school realizes that kids this age still need physical activity. We give the children breaks where they can play and move and recess. No other school in the area does that, and at the middle school level. And, the science behind it, there's science behind that choice. Like, this is so good for them. They're going to perform better academically. They're going to be fewer behavior issues, because these kids need to just let off energy. So our administration made wise choices to incorporate physical activity time in the schedule. And then we have advisory at the end of the day, where we're really focusing on social emotional learning. And we are having time to address any issues the kids are dealing with, to try to help them learn things like organization, which is not intuitive. It's very difficult for middle schoolers, especially, to figure out how to juggle all these different classes at once. And those are the type of skills they're going to carry with them through the rest of their life. No matter what they do, they need to know how to multitask and how to deal with different demands from different people, and how to handle emotional situations and respond in grace. So I just love that. We really do. When we say the whole child, because we can address the spiritual aspect, we really can address the whole child.
Olivia, you're absolutely right. And It's so interesting when we talk about developmentally appropriate education. A lot of times people just think that that applies to our youngest ones. And there is so much benefit and value in really paying attention to what is best developmentally and educationally for these different ages and stages of learners. Stephanie Ansley even commented, advisory's been such a blessing for my middle schooler, and she's thanking the administration for doing that. So thanks for commenting on that, Stephanie. But that's really, really appropriate there. Susan, tell us, why did you choose to teach at WCCS?
Well, I guess it just boils down to, our family being a part of WCCS for so long that, we believe in WCCS, and I just felt God calling me to the school to teach. And, I'd been in public school, and I know that God wanted me there for a reason. And I just, felt God's calling me to come to WCCS and kind of see the other side. I had been a parent for 17 years. And I just felt that he wanted me, to experience the other side of being a part of the school as a teacher. I'd had many years of experience as a teacher assistant, and I just, so glad that he called me there and for me to be a part of that community. I just love the small atmosphere, the classroom, the smaller class sizes. I feel like, when I think about my own children, I feel like because of that, they really were able to, to do so much more. God just used their gifts. Whereas I feel like maybe, in a larger school, they wouldn't have been able to. I feel like their every child's, gifts are noticed there. And, the teachers look at every child as a unique child of God. And I feel like that's my job in the classroom, is just to help that child find their gifts and use their gifts and start recognizing those even as a third grader, and just helping those parents to see, nurturing them along as they try to parent their own, their child through these years, and helping direct them to seek God for their identity, and not, whatever skills they have, whatever, they're great at, just trying to, center that around Christ. And so I'm just really glad to be a part of WCCS now as a teacher.
Thank you, Susan. We're so glad that you're a part of our faculty as well as being an alumni parent. So that's really fun. Bernie, why did you choose to teach at Westminster Catawba Christian School?
I sort of started touching on that when I first was introduced, but it was the year after I finished all my grad school courses, and I was looking to go into teaching. And my wife, like I said, she graduated from Westminster, and she, just it was, maybe middle of the summer, she's like, you should check to see if they just happen to have a science opening at Westminster. And sure enough, that year they happened to have a science opening at Westminster, which, I doubt comes up too often. So it definitely, God led me to the position by far, because I think that just from different things I was told as I started the position, is that, I think they were kind of struggling to find someone, the right fit for the position, somebody for the position. And I ended up accepting the job about a week before classes started. So, it was definitely something that God put me in that place. But the really big part of it was having family ties to the school through my wife and her mother.
That is really cool. And I hear a lot of faculty stories, just like, and family stories too, that God really was a part of that call to bring you to teach with us. And so we are so thankful that God did that, in each of your lives and in our faculty. So thank y'all for sharing your answers on that one. All right. So next question, I've been asking, this has been a lot of fun. I've been asking this question every night, and I love to see what the answers are. What one word, so just one word, would you use to describe WCCS? Susan, I'm going to start with you tonight. what one word would you use to describe the school?
Partnership.
Very good. All right. Why would you choose that word, Susan?
Well, I guess, as I've hit on a little bit more, in the earlier questions, I just feel like, that it's the partnership between the teachers and the families, the parents, and of course, with Christ at the center of that partnership. I think that's what makes us so unique. We can have that as a teacher, we can have that partnership at any school, but I think it's just such a special bond here at our school when we can put Christ at the center of that. And I feel like that's, really important. And also, the partnership with the church as well. That's just our mission at our school.
Partnership. Thank you,
Yes.
Susan. Bernie, what about you? What is your one word?
Definitely the word that came to mind was family. For a lot of reasons, to be honest. One of the biggest reasons that I can say that is just mainly, being a high school teacher and teaching 10th, 11th, 12th, you've got some students that have been at the school for all their life, the lifers that have been there. And so I'm getting them towards the end of their school career. And so you're seeing these students and new students coming in 9th, 10th, 11th, and even 12th grade. And the students that have been here for years and years and years, they're so familiar with each other, know each other so well. And I mean, you can literally see them just, acting like brothers and sisters, family, but they're also very, very welcoming to new students. We get new students in the, this 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and they're coming in with students that have been together for, 6 to 12 years. That could be pretty intimidating because, you might have figured that you've already got these social circles that are really embedded. But at the same time, whenever we get new students, I just always see new students being welcome like they've been a part of the school for all their life as well. And, same thing with teachers. I feel like the teachers end up with students and with one another, end up having like very, very strong relationships.
Absolutely. And family is a word that I hear used quite a bit to describe the school. So that's a great choice. Olivia, what about you? What's your one word used to describe the school?
Well, I chose a hyphenated compound word. Grace.
Language arts. Say it again because I spoke over you.
Grace-filled. Okay. Because
grace-filled.
Well, when I reflect on how much grace I have received from Heavenly Father that I don't deserve, it inspires me to extend it to others. And then, we're trying to model that for these kids. We're not perfect as teachers. Every week I have to apologize to someone, whether it be a parent or the administration or a student. I messed up, and we get to practice asking for forgiveness and extending forgiveness. And that's because of the example we have from our Heavenly Father. And so I just feel like that lesson over and over is just a wonderful thing. And the kids, they see, I think that is such a wonderful, beautiful life lesson for them to see. I'm a teacher at a school, but I mess up sometimes. Will you forgive me? And yes, they will. And of course, I will do the same for you. So it builds that trust within each other that we are both here for each other. Doesn't matter what our performance is. I don't love these kids or like them only when they make good grades and behave perfectly. I love them no matter what. And, because of that, they see that they matter just because of who they are as sons and daughters of God.
And Olivia, I remember when you mentioned that to me, just in a personal conversation that we were having, and that just had such an impact and really just crystallized how I was feeling about just the way that we value the partnership with the home. As Susan talked about, the way that we do feel as a family, as Bernie mentioned, because we are part of a grace-filled community that loves one another, that makes mistakes. And what a beautiful thing that we get to live in authenticity with each other in and out of the classroom. And that is modeled from the teachers. And so that really begins in your classrooms, and it's a hard thing to do. So you do it well. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And then we're going to end with one last question. How do you feel that WCCS is preparing students for what God has for them next? Let's see, Bernie, as the high school teacher, you touched on this a little bit, but how do you feel like WCCS is preparing students?
We prepare them in a lot of ways, but from hearing student testimonials, students that come back, alumni, and talk to me about it, I do feel that a lot of them are constantly saying that they felt very prepared for college, because that's really the main next step that usually everybody's thinking about in high school. But they do always come back and say that they felt prepared, that they felt like, honestly, like sometimes I'll have students say college felt a little easier. They come back and say that the workload I had in high school was tougher than the workload I have at college. But it's also partly because a lot of our students are so involved in so many things that they end up having very, very heavy schedules, and that's definitely building them up in terms of being able to time management, putting forth your best effort in a lot of different avenues at the same time. But then on top of that as well is, I think that we get a lot of opportunities to, which I think is one of the most important things we do, is to have one-on-one, very deep conversations with students about the Bible and God. Because even as I went to a Christian school when I was younger as well, and if you go to Christian school, there's definitely going to be the idea that you're going to have a knowledge of the Bible, and you're going to have a knowledge of certain parts. But I do like, and this is something I try to stress a lot, but I do like being able to kind of take it a step further and prepare the students spiritually, mentally for the world that they're going to enter into. Because the truth is, they're going to enter into a world that's not always very inviting for people that are Christians. And in fact, a lot of times, especially in colleges and universities these days, will attack it, attack their faith. And I do think it's very important for them to go in with a very strong, spiritual armor and be ready for anything that's thrown at them. And that's, for the past maybe 5-6 years, that's something I've really taken a lot of enjoyment in working with students on. Just kind of building up that type of mentality and understanding of, deeper content to look at the Bible, because it's very easy to underestimate how much the students want the very deep, complicated, interesting aspects of the Bible, to really dive deep and get ask the tough questions and think about the tough questions. They actually really love that. They crave that. And, spending time working with them on that really gives them opens up their eyes and kind of allows them to learn how to form their own opinion, learn how to form their own defense, and then also learn how to share the gospel with other people.
Absolutely. And y'all do a great job of preparing. I mean, countless alumni, just like you said, have shared those very same testimonials about how they felt well prepared, not just academically, to take on that next step, but to be prepared for the road that lies ahead in their journey of life. So thank you for the work that you do in that respect. Susan, you have 2 graduates of the school, so you can speak to this as a mom too. So how do you feel that the school is preparing students?
Yeah, I can definitely, say firsthand that my 2 were prepared for their next step in life. I feel like, they were well prepared academically. I think spiritually, which was the most important, aspect. I feel like the school did well with that and partnering, with us and the church with that. I think as a 3rd grade teacher, as I think about the elementary years for the children, I do feel like the school does well at preparing the students and spiritually, and just teaching them those simple biblical truths and the foundation. I feel like we do well at that. We focus a lot in third grade, we focus on teaching the children how they're image bearers of Christ and what that means. And I just think back to my childhood, and, I didn't attend a Christian school, so I didn't have the opportunity to study, the Bible in school. And I just think how wonderful it is each day when we have our lessons and the truths that they're learning, that I really didn't realize as a third grader myself, even though I, grew up in a Christian home. So these things, I feel like the school is doing a good job of the foundation for that spiritual life. I go back, I think about what Olivia said earlier about that we truly teach to the whole child. I do feel like that my children were prepared socially, emotionally, when now as adults, I feel like they are, successful, image bearers of Christ, living out his plan for their life. And it was a great feeling when my oldest went off, to college, and when he would come home and to hear him, say how, he felt he was well prepared. He thanked his dad and me, for, sacrificing the many years that we sacrificed for him, to go to Westminster Catawba. It was, worth it, because he, we feel like was prepared in many ways. I feel like the life lessons, as you mentioned earlier, it's just a authentic experience. I mean, we're very real at WCCS, and we all come from different, backgrounds. And I feel like our school does a really good job of accepting everyone and, loving each other, through Christ. And that's the way it should be. So, yes, we thank WCCS, for preparing our children. They're now, 25 and 22. And, we do credit the school for where they're at now in life. We feel like it was because of this, of God, but the partnership with the school, and there's just the love and the time that the teachers put in to their life, all those years.
Absolutely. And what a blessing it is to get to see the fruits of, the labors that you put in every day in the classroom when a student graduates. So thank you for sharing that, Susan. Mm-hmm. Olivia, how do you feel WCCS is preparing students?
Well, I will say that I think what sets us apart from other schools is that because of who our faculty and staff is, because we're people who are believers in Jesus and have a different mission in mind, that we see each child in a different way. Like, each child matters. They are seen. They're not going to fall through the cracks and be forgotten. Part of that is, yes, we have smaller class sizes and we're able to attend the needs more, but part of that is just our focus. Like, these faculty and staff members talk and pray and brainstorm over each child. And the most difficult one that, might be a handful behavior-wise in class, we love them equally to the ones who are straight A, perfectly behaved kids. And we try to address the issues of those kids, equally. So I feel like I know a lot of parents sometimes feel anxiety about their child's needs not being met at the school that they're at. And I think we do a really good job of assessing the needs of the children that come to Westminster Catawba. We try to have focused, personalized instruction to meet those needs, meet that child where they are academically, socially, spiritually. And that doesn't happen at most schools. It really doesn't. So that type of specialized, focused attention is what makes our school a wonderful place to send your child.
Absolutely, Olivia. I totally agree. And I heard it said on the radio last night that, the purpose of Christians is to make the impact of Christ known in every aspect of life. And I truly think that this is the value, the invaluable experience that you have an opportunity to have at a Christian school like Westminster Catawba Christian School, where every part of your day is infused with truth, relationship, and just the reminder that all of this is ultimately pointing to the King of all Kings, that created the content that we get to study and the way we get to live out the lives and the way that we get to glorify him with the way that we serve him in a career and chosen profession. So thank you all for preparing that next generation of disciples for Christ to make a difference in the world. And speaking of preparation, I want to give a little plug to something that is going to be happening here starting next week. One of our fabulous staff members, her name is Ashley Sapp. She is our college and career counselor that works mainly with high school students, but certainly advises middle school and beyond as well, if needed. She is offering a 30-minute Lunch and Learn webinar series starting next Wednesday. You can choose to attend one or all of them. And this is actually something that you can scan from the screen right here and get to that Zoom webinar link. And we would love to have you join in with her starting next week as well. She does a fabulous job if you have had an opportunity to be with her. And then finally, I want to give a shout out to everybody that was able to join us on the live stream tonight. We have gotten tons of comments. Teachers, I don't know if you've been able to view these as we've been going down. We recognized some in the beginning. Sheila Nichols is on, and she wanted to have a shout out to her son, Trip Nichols, class of 2004. And Sheila, we miss you and love you. Lisa commented that Olivia has the voice of an angel. Tammy McDaniel, thank you for joining us. We are so glad that you are here and appreciate your comments about Mr. Cook and his godly relationship with children. And, Susan, how much she loves you and getting to work with you. John Edwards said that Mr. Cook was his science teacher in high school. So that was a lot of fun. Let's see, Andrea Friddle, she was on last night as one of our parents, and she loves Miss Edge as well. She's one of our new 6th grade parents, so a little shout out there. Caroline Forrester was joining us tonight. Sandy Jolly, goodness, we've gotten so many just great folks that have been joining us tonight. So thank you all for joining us live. I hope that you will come on board again tomorrow night. 7 p.m., we are going to feature some really special guests, 3 of our alumni. And so you'll really get to see, kind of hear their journey from what happened after graduation and how they really did feel prepared for that next step. So y'all have a great evening. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 7.
Thank you.